Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to this latest episode of Tales from Outer Space, taken from the subreddit HFY. The links to all the stories will be down below, and as always, I hope that you enjoy. And if you do, please consider subscribing.
Story number 1, Luck, written by the one fearless falcon. Every species has its talents. In a rule of reality, as far as we know, a skill that no one can beat them at. Take the strongest, toughest martial artist of the Qualmon, and barely old enough to read a hand-to-hand fight, and he'd be taken out on a stretcher, while the Qualmon will barely suffer a scratch. A single Zagyamak can outthink the entire university chess team in logic games. No species makes weapons like the Gurk. Karok spaceships are the epitome of efficiency and luxury. But humans? By the stars! Don't get me started on humans. Humans are slightly below galactic average in every major aspect. Not too strong, not too fast, maybe a little smarter than average. But for the most part, this is only an extraordinary record breakers that truly measure up to other species. And yet, they could likely conquer the galaxy. Why? Because of their inherent talent. Luck. Humans seem to hold favor with reality itself. Luck is incredibly difficult to quantify, but it seems to fluctuate as necessary. From one little super genius blog have figured out, it seems to increase if there are more humans in one place, or if the human is in danger. Stars forbid the whole race is never threatened at once. I've seen a human fix a broken, overheating, about to explode warp drive. Normally, this requires decades of training and a few months as a rock clear. But this human simply popped open a nearby hairdryer, exclaimed, "This ought to do it," and then moved the cheap circuit board into a place of a broken Cortex card. The drive was working fine within minutes. The human said he MacGyvered it. When we reached the port for repairs, the local ZAR blocks told us the odds of that working was some 0.0000001%. Give or take a quadrillionth. The warp drive never worked again, but the human lived. Bullets and lasers fly by them, and guns jam for the best marksmen. Poisons used on them happen to be expired and useless. Sabotage attempts help them in the long run. Such incredible luck is a threat to all races. Should they turn hostile, the reason we have not attempted to quell them is twofold. One, we do not know, nor do we want to know, what would happen if the whole species were threatened with genocide. The backlash of misfortune upon us would be staggering. 2. The humans are completely unaware of their power. New to the galactic stage, most species realize they are stronger or smarter than most. Growing up with no other species to compare up against makes most species see themselves as average, and they do not realize how lucky they are. Growing up on the richest garden in the world in the known galaxy, dominating the mineral market by getting lucky with rare deposits wherever they mine, we have led them to believe that they are the ultimate entrepreneurs. The only other species that does not know their true talent is the Zomulans, who have the truly obscure talent of making the best damn gumbo in the universe. Commander Zarbox, we are preparing a forbidden weapon from the predecessor races, one capable of eradicating a race's skill. We must do it for the sake of the galaxy, even though the humans have been nothing but kind. Should they turn on us in the galaxy, they could be a danger. It can only be used once, and I'm including the launch codes in the message. Please, for the galaxy's races, stop the humans before they find out about their power. High Tech Priest Kamkara. Ambassador Leon looked up from the tablet of the United Species Council, laughing to himself. He noticed the other ambassadors glancing at each other with worried looks. "Well," he began, addressing the council, "we sure were lucky," Mr. Kamakara hit reply all, seeing as his meeting was called to discuss the current issue with invasive mosquitoes on other planets. I motion that we use this forbidden weapon to wipe out the talent of being annoying. Any objections? End of story number 1. Story number 2. Humans are weird. Medical attention. Written by Betty Adams. Never again. The deeply distressed groan clearly came from a human voice, and the fifth sister felt her frill twitch uneasily. She carefully placed a deep tissue sampler that she had been tuning beside its mates in the case and shut it firmly. She rose from her perch and faced the door with all the dignity that she could muster. Being the youngest xenomedic ever to have graduated from the Central University was an honor to her family, but it didn't leave her feeling out in the depths amongst the humans. Quite literally, she mused. The first engineer staggered around the corner and approached her. "Need anti-inflammatory stuff," he muttered with a slurred voice. "That may be," she said, stiffening her frill to display firmness. "However, as I told you before, I need to properly diagnose you." The human groaned and muttered something about nosy medics before easing down into the diagnostic chair. Fifth sister stood across from him and began the visual questioning even as she attached the skin sensors to his inflamed surface. She marveled anew at how much damage the human skin could take as the sensors clung to clearly unhealthy surface. She caught a glimpse into the cavern of his mouth, and her frill rippled up in shock. "It appears that your mandible protuberances are loose," she said. He replied with a low-grade profane statement that she had learned meant that he agreed with her diagnosis and considered it too obvious to bear restating. "It appears that your mandible is rejecting your native. It's an allergic reaction," he snapped. "I just need the usual stuff. The last medic just gave it to me." "That would be against regulations," Sister said, trying to put the sternness into her voice. "Just get on with it," he muttered, rotating his eyes away from the slumped in that nearly undulating way in the chair. Fifth sister looked up his medical history and clicked her mandibles. It did indeed look like it was a common occurrence for the first engineer. There was a justification of simply administering the known antidote for allergic reactions. The diagnostics, however, caught her attention. She tilted her head and turned to the human. "Why?" she asked in a very non-threatening. "Is it because your recurring medical issue listed as stupidity?" The human let out a bark of laughter and grinned up at her, revealing his swollen internal tissue, that strange internal appendage, prodding the loosened protuberances. "Look, I've broke down and ate some pizza, okay?" he said. "Got a little dairy, and I'm reacting." "The file state," she began. Yeah, the human waved her off. "Like my file states, immature behavior, lack of self-control, no intention for self-harm, i.e. stupidity. Just make your diagnosis and give me this dermal spray." Fifth sister agreed and determined to check his age against the human maturity charts. Surely a fully grown human wouldn't deliberately ingest a known poison. End of story number 2. Story number 3. Field Report, Enemy Weapon Efficacy on Human Allies. Written by Miracon. To Herokux, Military Command Research Division, from Field Commander Hitztib, Lauren Minor. Subject, Enemy Weapon Efficacy on Human Allies. Sirs, since the intervention of the humans in the Ascendry invasion on the Lauren system, there has not been a time to gain full formal testing of the human capabilities in the war-fighting effort. However, we have begun getting extensive field data from the human stage in the Godgo garrison on Lauren Minor, opposing the Ascendry forces there. While the results of the plasma-based and kinetic penetrating weapons are in line with expectations regarding damage infliction, though the capability of humans to overcome said damage and continue in combat is far above expectations. This report will focus on the Ascendry favorite weapons, the oscillatory inducer and the oscillatory inhibitor. As you are no doubt aware, due to the obligate carnivore status of the Ascendry warrior caste species, and the long-held cultural taboos about scavenging, consuming the flesh of creatures that were killed by another creature or other chaoses, The Ascendry prefers to avoid the use of kinetic penetrators, plasma weapons, biological or chemical agents, and similar weapon systems. However, recognizing the need for a ranged combat ability in a war scenario, the Ascendry developed a series of weapons designed to debilitate most creatures, allowing the Ascendry troops to close in melee range and begin the ceremonial feasting on the live captives. The oscillatory inducer works by exciting molecules in the target area, rapidly increasing the rate of motion, resulting in an increasing internal temperature. As one might suspect, the inhibitor works as the reverse, rapidly dropping the internal temperature of the target creature. Many species known to the Empire have biological states that allow them to effectively resist the Ascendry's inducer or its inhibitor. The Arctic amphibians of Taharat are easily able to resist the effects of the inhibitor, unless it is a vehicle-mounted weapon at least. However, they are particularly vulnerable to the inducer, collapsing under the heat in seconds when faced with a typical Ascendry sidearm version of the inducer. There are similar results for desert-evolved creatures being highly resistant to the inducer, but weak to the inhibitor. To date, all known species have been vulnerable to at least one of the Ascendry weapon systems. Most, like the Heroks, have no particular vulnerability or resistance to either one, but find them both devastating under battle conditions. Especially in the attrition battles the Ascendry favors. This was held as a galactic constant, like the fundamental coefficient of gravity. Until humans. Humans come from a world of extremes. Some have even called it a death world. However, this evolutionary background has given the humans an impressive resistance to the Ascendry weapons. The inducer typically heats individuals to an internal temperature of 40 degrees Celsius, though vehicle-mounted weapons can raise it further with prolonged contact. The human homeworld has areas which routinely experience temperatures of 46 degrees Celsius. Because of this, humans have developed physiological methods to resist heat. Indeed, their own bodies would attempt to fight off the numerous pathogens in the native environment by raising the internal temperature to levels equal to the inducer's capabilities in order to defeat infections. While under inducer attack, human soldiers have been noted to leak fluids from various parts of the outer membrane, called sweat, which helps them cool their body. Humans of the 23rd Expeditionary Force endured 24 hours of continuous inducer bombardment during the siege of Garrison 12. The only ill effects suffered were a minor loss of accuracy and rare cases of hallucination, as well as the consumption of 4 times the normal amount of dihydrogen monoxide. Conversely, the inhibitor works by slowing the molecules in its path, reducing internal temperatures to 30 degrees Celsius. It also has an unfortunate effect on structural integrity in certain materials. However, as with the inducer, the human homeworld has prepared humans for combating this weapon as well. Parts of the human homeworld reportedly experience temperatures of minus 17 degrees Celsius, or lower on a regular basis, forcing humans to adapt to the chilling temperatures. The first human response to the inhibitor attack is to induce a rapid movement of the limbs and other parts, a process known as shivering. The human has little to no conscious control over the response. As exposure to the weapon continues, however, humans stop shivering response and enter a drowsy state. During the assault of Garrison 80, the humans present were able to maintain fire for 5 hours until a support flight took out the inhibitor cannon locked on their position. Some humans, notably ones from the area called Finland, were able to maintain a high rate of accuracy while suffering the inhibitor. Recommendation: send diplomatic envoy to the humans in an effort to gain genetic material for splicing into the new Heracrox warriors. End of story number 3.
I hope that you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. If you wish to support the author, there is a link to the original story, so pop over there and give him your support. If you wish to support this channel, however, there are a few ways to do so. The best and easiest would be to share this video with other people, as well as liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. All of these things tell the algorithm that this channel is at least vaguely interesting and that may share it with other people. If you wish to support the channel in some other manner, watching my other videos would also help tremendously. Or, if you really like, there is a link down below to leave a tip or to join the Patreon. Any and all support is very much appreciated. And I hope that you all have a good one until the next time, and I'll see you then. Cheers.